The dark side of the sexual revolution is that even though it liberated women, unyoking sex from the consequences has primarily benefited men.
The Confession of a Feminist. Oh, how suddenly, hell comes to knock at the door and suddenly reality hits. And you're like, man, what the hell did I do?
I regret being a slut. I'm grateful for the ability to control my reproductive cycle and make my own money. But that freedom has come at a price. The dark side of the sexual revolution is that even though it liberated women, unyoking sex from the consequences has primarily benefited men.
I let dudes know, I'm like, listen, you get to get the draws for free now. You don't have to worry about, you don't have to come up with some lie to get her out of your apartment, or you don't have to come up with some lie to get up out of her apartment. Dude, you know, all that is done with. You smash, and then you get up, put your clothes on, you leave. You ain't even gotta say thanks to her. You just walk out. That's what their movement done taught them. And some of them try to do the same. They get up and put their clothes on and they're out. Like they doing us, doing the men wrong. Like men are like sad about that. No, that's exactly what the men want. That's what men want. We smash, dash, no cuddle, no none of that. No, we don't need to be talking afterwards. I might just go grab me a sandwich or go eat or just go to sleep. That's all. That's what y'all worth, you feminasties. Not to the women. We talking about the feminasties, these females.
But if I'm honest with myself, of the dozens of men I've been with, at least the ones I remember, I can only think of a handful I don't regret. The rest I would put in the category of casual, which I would define as sex that is either meaningless or mediocre or both. If I get really honest with myself, I'd say most of these usually drunken encounters left me feeling empty and demoralized and worthless.
And filled with mad DNA up to your nostrils. Disgusting. You're spewing out DNA out of your mouth. You sneeze, DNA come out of your mouth. Sperms, all that.
I wouldn't have said that at the time, though. At the time, I would have told you I was liberated, even while I tried to drink away the sick feeling of rejection while my most recent hookup didn't call me back. At the time, I would have said one-night stands made me feel emboldened. But in reality, I was using sex like a drug, trying unsuccessfully to fill a hole inside me with men. Pun intended. I know regretting most of my sexual encounters is not something a sex-positive feminist who used to write a column for Playboy is supposed to admit. And for years, I didn't. Let me be clear. Being a slut and sleeping with a lot of men is not the only behavior I regret. Even more damaging was what I told myself in order to justify the fact that I was disposable to these men. I told myself I didn't care. I didn't care when a man ghosted me. Ugh.
But in reality, when everything settles down, that's what matters to her. She recognized that, oh my goodness, that is not how I want to be treated. And she did care. She just, again, she would probably go in a drunken, parade to get herself drunk so that way she could numb the pain. That way she wouldn't think about it. Or again, bag another dude, let him get it for free. She keep piling on men by offering the draws, and men are gonna take it, but then that's it. That's thank you, bye. That's what you're worth.
I didn't care when he left in the middle of the night or hinted that he wanted me to leave. The walks of shame, the blackouts, the anxiety. The lie I told myself for decades was, I'm not in pain, I'm empowered.
And that's where they get that, that's where their whole backbone lies on, right there. They're empowered. They're empowered until that power the pain overwhelms the power, or the false power that they think they get, that false sense of empowerment. When that pain sets in, boy, no type of pain medication or, numbing or any of that, alcohol, nothing. You start seeing more of those, them bitter tears and them regretful tears and all that. I ain't buying none of that.
It would be hard to read this. I lost my virginity at 17 to my boss at a restaurant where I worked. And a year later, I experienced my first sexual trauma. I felt damaged and dirty, and I blame myself. Everyone responds differently to these situations. I dealt with the overwhelming shame by becoming hypersexual and promiscuous. The culture was right there to pick me up and dust me off. I doubled down on being a proud slut and internalized the biggest and most damaging lie, that loveless sex is empowering. I basked in the girl power glow of that delusion for decades, weaponizing my sexuality while convincing myself I was full of the divine feminine. I was full of shit.
And let's just go on hand it on here, because this thing's a little too long. Y'all could probably check out look closely, and you could pick out her TikTok. That way, if you want to see the whole video, you could, check it out in its entirety. But anyway, yeah, that's exactly what she's full of. And she's full of that literally and genetically, filled up to the brim, because she doubled down on being a slut, like she said. Now again, the woman that's reading this is not her. I think she's reading someone else's column. Okay, let's just make sure we clear that. She's reading someone else's material. But she felt sorry for that woman. I'm sorry. Ain't no tear here, none. Yeah, fellas, don't y'all tear for any of these double down sluts. That's what she said. She doubled down on being empowered. Enjoy it. Hopefully it was worth it. Anyway, I'm done with this video. Like, share, subscribe. Hit the notification bell. That way when I drop a new one, you'll be notified. Knock Louis, y'all. That was my perspective. I'm gonna catch y'all on the next one.